Here's another cushion front intro because I don't want to change. But I wanted to make something out of all this cotton that I have now since Joann's closed. And because I went and bought some cotton while they were closing, and I had this yellow, pretty cotton with florals on it that I just wanted to make something summery out of while it's hot, you know? And I wanted something simple and easy to wear, so I made a little short sleeve top, and I really like it, and it's comfortable and easy to wear, and you know, breathable because it's 100% cotton. So yeah, definitely would recommend. And I think that's it. It's very simple. So on to the video. Okay, so I haven't made anything in a while right now, so I think I want my next thing to be very simple and wearable and easy to put together, you know, fingers crossed. So I just want like a simple little top, and I saw one that I think was from Cezanne. It's very simple. It's just like non-stretch plain, like a top, the high neckline and little mid-length sleeves with like a slit in the top back with the one singular button, just so that you can get it over your head because the neckline's kind of close fitting. So I just drew my rudimentary Blue's Clues drawing here. So just very simple. I only want to keep the bust darts and keep this all loose so I can tuck it in. And then slightly puffs. I feel like I always draw these like really puffy, but just a little bit puffed and just like a little mid-length sleeve. So, I mean, it's a short sleeve, but it's not like a cap sleeve or anything. It's going to be down like by the bicep, hopefully. And then just like a little slit in the back to get in. So for the back, just like a little slit just to get it over my head, basically, you know? So that's that. I know the ones I saw, they had like really pretty fabric. I think, I forgot what it's called. The one where it's embroidered with holes in it. So, yeah. So I'll see if I have anything that I honestly just need something that's like a kind of like a cotton that's I could go either sturdier or I can go like a little bit less sturdy, but most of my cottons are very sturdy. So we'll see what I come up with. But the patterning hopefully shouldn't be too bad. So I'm gonna do that, and that's my goal for right now, is just to finish the patterning real fast. Alright, I've copied my front block pattern and markered it in, and I penciled in the changes I want to make, so let me go through those. Okay, so I sketched in my 1/2 inch seam allowance in pencil so I would know where to measure that 3/4 inch out from the neckline. However, I forgot to add that 1/2 inch of seam allowance back in, so it ended up being 1 1/4 inches instead of 3/4 of an inch out. And then I went down 1/4 inch at the arm side and out 1/4 inch at the side seam. So I marked where that 1/2 inch seam allowance would be from that new side seam, and from there I connected the arm side. No sewing that middle dart because I wanted to be loose and blousey to tuck in, and then I just continued adding that 1/4 inch to the side seam. I wanted it to be long enough to tuck, but not so long that it bunched too much, so I went with 7 inches from the waist. And then I added a 2-inch hem at the bottom. Were I to do it again, I would have made this longer because it had a tendency to untuck in the back. So maybe a couple more inches would be better, maybe like 9 inches. And then I didn't need the shaping because I wanted it to be blousey, so I just connected from under the bust dart to that hip line. And then to get the line for the bust dart, I just closed it up and cut a smooth line. All right, it's the next day that I'm having to do the rest of this patterning today. So I copied the back block pattern and marked it in, and I penciled in my changes. So let me walk through those. The back was even simpler than the front, so I went out that 3/4 inch with forgetting the seam allowance again, so it ended up being 1.25 inches. And I went out that 1/4 inch at the side seam and down 1/4 inch at the arm side, and just connected it from that 1/2 inch, that new 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then again, not doing up that dart in the back to keep it blousy. And then I grabbed the front pattern piece and matched up the area before the dart to the side seam and after the dart, just so I could see how long the back needed to be to match the side seam. And I just copied that side there and then made it perpendicular to the center back. And then the hem is again 1.5 inches. Did I say 2 inches before? It was 1.5 inches. Okay, here's the back pattern. Before I move on to the sleeve, I think I'm going to work on the facings. Front's easy. I just traced the neckline and then just made it 2.5 inches thick. And then the back, let's see, the back I also traced, and then I went over 2.5 inches at the shoulder, just like for the front. But I went down 4.5 inches from the seam line, so a total of 5 inches here. 2.5 here, 5 inches here. Let me just keep it consistent. 5 inches total, so that I could sew and then like sew it a little wedge here, so it could be like a tiny little triangle slit when I sew the facing on. At least that's the goal. I haven't done it before, we'll find out. And I cut this part here 3 inches and then just, connected it. Try not to make it a rectangle, because I've done rectangles before. I'm like, I don't have to do that, so I can just like smooth it out with the serger, easier. So I'm just gonna cut these out. I keep reading the label. This is center back. So then I copied my sleeve block pattern and decided to make it about 7 inches long. 7 inches from that 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top. So I wanted the finished length to be 7 inches. And I put in a 2-inch hem because I originally wanted to do a scalloped edge, but that didn't end up working out. And then I moved my side seams out 1/2 inch. My sleeve block is just a little too tight, honestly. And then I squared down those side seams because I wanted it to be a looser fitting sleeve, not tapered like my block pattern is. I made a line across under the sleeve cap because I wanted to add a little bit more puff at the cap. So I put a little piece of tape there at that juncture just to like give it some structure there, a little bit of support while I cut that because it's flimsy paper. And then I just spread that sleeve cap and used some scrap paper to tape it down. And I only added about a couple of inches at the top there to gather because I didn't want it to be super puffy, just a little bit. There's that 2 inches at the top. That 2-inch hem at the bottom was just so that I could double or up the fabric and have some sturdiness there to do scallops. I ended up cutting it off, some of it off at the end when I realized the scallops aren't going to work out. but I'm determined to figure out the scallop situation at some point. All right, here are all the pattern pieces, the short sleeve, the front pattern, the back pattern, back facing, front facing, and yeah, that's everything. Hopefully this is an easy peasy project. Hopefully this is an easy project, we'll see. All right, so today, I skipped yesterday. Today I want to do a couple things. We'll make a list. Not too many things because, as usual, I'm finding it difficult to motivate myself. um, I do. I have to. I feel like I have to remind myself that I'm doing this because I want to do it. You know, but for some reason, like I just get bogged down sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this part. I don't want to do that part. You know, but as a whole, I clearly like it because I keep doing it. You know. So anyway, I'm trying to just focus more on each step and, you know, take what enjoyment I can from it and not stress about it. And, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to make a list. Okay, I'm going to get real granular with this in the hopes that crossing off the list makes me want to do the steps. Let's see if I can psych myself into this, you know? I used the list just briefly in the beginning here, and then it fell by the wayside. I find that when I'm really lacking motivation, sometimes just writing out very simple, concise, almost micro steps helps me because then I have something that I can cross off and get that hit of dopamine, you know? All right, now the actual task of serging. I'm just gonna do all the edges for all my pieces. All right, I've serged everything except for the necklines for the facings and the main bodice front and back. So let me cross that off. All right, you know, that took me about an hour, and I feel like that's all I have in me right now. And that's okay. So let's put a pin in it. Not literally because I didn't do the darts. But I'll put a pin in it and pick up the darts next time. And that's okay. I got like one step closer, you know? And for me, even if I do one step at a time, or even part of one step, eventually it'll get finished, you know? Okay. It's been like a week, maybe a week and a half since I've touched this. So let me get back in small, you know? I think I'm just gonna try to pin the darts and then maybe sew them. That's it, you know? Keep it short and sweet, hopefully. Everything's right where I left it. So I'm just gonna pin up those darts here and here. I'd already marked the darts with blue chalk earlier, and I think I also marked a line down the center of the darts because I saw somewhere that it makes it easier to pin the darts, and it really did, so would recommend. So I already had this bobbin wound up, and any excuse not to wind a new one I will take. And then I had this bright yellow, so these are gonna go in. I saw somewhere that curving the stitches at the point of the dart can help it lay nicer. So I always try with varying degrees of success. But after I sew off the point of the dart, I just tie the loose threads 3 times and snip off the excess. Alright, dart's done but not pressed. I was gonna keep going, but I dropped my scissors on my toe, and I think I need to give it CPR, so I'm gonna stop here and move on later. Actually, I think I can get the shoulders done real fast. Can you hear that? The birds have started chirping. That means dawn is nigh. Alright. Looking for quick and easy. Looks like the darts took me like 20-25 minutes. So hopefully this takes me even less. Here's the current situation. Dart's done and shoulder seam's done, so it's starting to look like a top. It's heavy. There's a little bit of boob shape in there now too. How long did that take? Yeah, that took like 10 minutes, so good. And so I'm gonna stop here. It clearly needs to be ironed. I haven't ironed the fabric yet, but I've just been relying on the fact that it's kind of like a sturdier cotton, so. But it's enough for now. So I'll do this for like 40 minutes-ish. And, every step is a little bit closer, so I'll take it, Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go have breakfast now at 4:40 in the morning. The birds always make it sound so nice, the birds, like there's like the silence, the lonely silence of like the middle of the night where everything is really quiet outside, and then like an hour, how much before, maybe an hour-ish before sunrise, the birds start chirping and it starts feeling like, oh no, there's a world out there. It's not just silent and lonely in darkness, even though it's still fully dark out there. Anyway, that's enough of me talking about birds for some reason. I'm gonna go now. Okay, it's been a few days. I'm fully oiled up, ready to sew. I was like, I had the shoulder seams done here for the main part of the bodice, but I realized I should have done the facings then too, because I could have done that in like 5 minutes, So that's what I'm gonna do now, and then iron everything, and then we'll see if we get the facings pinned on and figure out how to use the facing to do like the slit in the back. So let's go. It's finally gotten hot now. It was like 80 degrees today, which is too hot. But this like really felt like appropriate fabric. like a really fun, sweet little yellow floral. I was like, oh yeah. I've been nibbling away at this project. Another nibbler. That's fine. It will get done in the end. Even if I spend 15 minutes a day on it. Okay, so I folded it in half to find the center point here of the back. And yeah, and I've marked that. And then I think I'm gonna go through and mark my 1/2 inch seam allowance all around just for me, It just makes it easier for me to sew. People don't do it, but I find myself wanting it when I don't have it sometimes, I don't know how clear that is. Is this clear at all? I don't know. Here's like the 1/2 inch at the neckline. So I'm just gonna follow this, go down this triangle, pivot, go up this side, and then keep going. And then I'll have to cut through here to make that slit. And hopefully that works out. We shall see. In terms of closure, I'm not sure. We'll find out. But yeah, that's the thought process right now. Is a 1/4 inch out too much? Maybe. Scratch the 1/4. I'm gone at 1/8 inch. And there's so many chalk marks now that I just give up and use my pencil to mark it. So hopefully this works out alright. You can see that. The pencil is the most clear, so hopefully that helps me focus on there. And yeah, okay, so let me pin it on and hope as usual the facing matches. Oh, like higher stakes this time, you know, higher stakes. Okay, so I pinned the heck out of it and try to ease everything so it matches, so I don't have like a loose situation anymore, because I kind of need the back to match up, you know? But I'm gonna stop here because I want to stop. It's late, and I'll pick this up. Who knows when? Later. I'll pick this up later. It's the next day. So I'm just gonna work on this for a little bit. So I'm just gonna try to get the facing on. Maybe understitch it, but if I just stitch it on, you know, that'll be good. But I'm gonna try to stitch it and clip it and understitch it if I can. And then maybe press it. See how long it takes. Alright, so the slit in the back went awry. I should have made the V not so narrow at the tip. So when I cut it, it just, you know, it was too narrow. I should have done a wider thing, or I should have done what I did in the beginning, which is like a flat bottom. That probably would have been clean and good, so I don't know. So a wider point or a flat bottom, one of those two options would have been better for this. Let's see what I come up with. Okay, so I've been working on this facing part for like almost an hour now. So the facing is done, and that's good. And I will mitigate this situation, this minor disaster, next time I come into the sewing room. So it's okay. I'll fix it later. All right, it's the next day, and I was thinking about the when I cut through far and that slit in the back neckline, and my original thought was to do bias binding around it and use it as a tie, but I don't know if I want to cut on the bias. Like, it's gonna take up more fabric. I have plenty of fabric, so I can make something else with it, hopefully, you know. I'm gonna conserve that. So I think what I'm gonna do instead is try to just square off the bottom and go under where I cut it, and hopefully just make that original square bottom slit in the back like I intended. So let me see if I can do that real fast. So it's inside out again, and I still had the markings from the original 1/8 inch out and square down to make it boxy. Is that visible? hopefully, yeah. I just went in with my pencil and ruler and just use the pencil because it just shows up the most. So I'm gonna do this here. So it's gonna go in a little further, so this will be a little more of a gap. That's fine. So I just stuck a little pin here to keep the facing in place, and hopefully this works out fine. All right, so now it's like a wider slit. It's like a 1/4 inch separation instead of like the more shallow, or not shallow, the narrower slit I had before. But the bottom is no longer cut through, so I'll take that boxy bottom, and then I'll figure out the fastening later. I'm thinking maybe a loop and button. I've never done that before. I could also do a hook and eye, I guess, but it might be a little ugly. There's a tie. You could do ties, I guess. I don't know. I'll deal with that later. But this is all I'm going to do for now, I think. And then next time, I'll do up the side seams. All right, so later that same day, which almost never happens. So, good for me, you know? I'm hoping to, like, I have the bodice mostly done. I just need to get the side seams done. I should try it on after I put the side seams on, but I'm just gonna do this and hope it's close enough, like just this bit. See, is this a good test? No, because I have on like 2 shirts. However, let's imagine this clipped. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Let me look in the mirror. I don't know. I mean, I think it's clearly fits over my head and I can get it on and it will not be too tight. So, fine. Fine. So I'm just going to clip the side seams and sew them up and see from there. The side seams are done. Looks like a top, which is all you can really ask for. Alright, so this project has been stalled for a while now, partially because I was trying to figure out the scallop detail I wanted to do on the sleeve, because everything I see for doing a normal machine on embroidery situation or an embroidery stitch is just doing a zigzag in the shape that you want and then trimming it close to that. But when I did that, it just didn't look great, and I think partially because it's a print, so any thread color that I pick is not going to match every part of it exactly, so anywhere I cut will just have a tendency to show more. And I just don't like the finish in general anyway, because, well, so then what I ended up doing was I tried yellow and green here, and this is after fixing it, because like I did it and I went over it multiple times, And obviously the scallops are not perfect. Like this is I was just doing it quickly, but also like I don't know if I could make them perfect, honestly. So I did it and I trimmed it, and then I went back and did another zigzag to try to just go over the edge, you know, to get those threads, but it's still not great. It's still not great, you know. I think this method, I might try it again with a solid, you know, and see if it's worthwhile then. But it's a lot of work because I have to go over it multiple times and then go over it multiple times again after cutting it. And I don't know if it's worth it, honestly, for the finish, you know, if it had a nice finish, maybe. Anyway, that's where I'm at there. So then I thought about it a lot, and I thought, what do I do then? I can just keep the sleeve just plain, you know, or I could add like a little lace maybe. So I was going through my lace stash, and I think maybe I'll do a lace, like a small, like a little baby lace, you know. So here I pulled out like options. I don't really have like a yellow one that looks good with this, so I have a stash of scrappy laces because I just bought them secondhand, just like a bundle of them secondhand. So, and I've been using them for years now, so a good purchase. But I think like this one, you know, I think this one looks the best. This one I think is too, I don't know, I feel, it still looks nice, but like I think I like the heft of this one better. It's a little thicker. And then I thought maybe this one, but I think this is like a happy medium between those two in terms of like how substantial it is, but still not like fully crochet like this one is. So yeah, I'm thinking this one, I mean this one's not bad either, but I think this one matches more for some reason. It has a little more yellow in it. When you put the bundles together, you can see that. This one is a little more pinky beige, and this one's a little more yellow. So I think this matches better. So, okay, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to see what length this is, if I want to just keep it long and then just add the lace trim, or if I want to shorten it now that I'm not going to be doubling it up for the scalloping, you know? Okay, it's been so long that I don't quite remember what length I wanted. But I'm just gonna go with a finished length of 7.5. And if I just pull this up 1 inch and then a 1/2 inch up here for seam allowance, that means I would need a 9-inch length total. So I'm just gonna cut off about 3 inches to get there, and that should be good. So I just lined it up on the mat so that I can just cut 3 inches on the here. At least for the sleeve on the next one. Okay. Put one down. Two, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah. All right. So this is what I'm going with. So I'm just gonna re-serge the bottoms here. All right. Well, I'm here. I think I'm just gonna iron it up twice instead of once like I was planning, like 1/2 inch or so. But like I think my best bet is probably, I mean the easiest way to do this is probably to do the hem and then add in the lace before I sew up the side seams. So I think I'm gonna do that, even though it might not match exactly. It'll be the underarm, and I think it'll be okay. This just feels like it's gonna be a lot easier to do this way while it's flat, you know? Right, the next time I'm just gonna sew the hem and then add the lace, and then yeah, and then add the gathering stitch and okay, just everything else. So I think I'm gonna sew from the right side, but I'm gonna tuck the top in the back, I think. I think I just want the bottom to show. I think that would be cute. Versus like, this is still fine, but I think this is better. So I'm gonna do this. I'm just running the lace bit through with a straight stitch. I tried doing a zigzag to finish off the edge of the lace, because I don't want to do a French seam because I think it's going to be too bulky at the bottom especially. Not great. So then I just went through and tried the straight stitch a few times, and I think that's better. So I'm just gonna do that to all of them, and hopefully that'll help it stay together. So I'm just gonna mark the center of the cap and where to gather. I don't know if like I marked it and it disappeared with the ink or what, but I'm gonna use a pencil so make sure it stays. It's visible enough. Alright, I'm just gonna put in a large stitch to gather later between those the two marks I put in, and then I am just gonna sew the side seam, or sew the only seam, the seam to make the sleeve be arm shaped. What are words right now, you know? Alright, so the sleeves are prepped to go in. What if I just finger press them? It's so hot to iron. Even though right now it's not hot. It's like 4 in the morning, but I feel like the little lace came out really sweet. It's adorable, so I think that was the right call. Alright, time to stop for tonight. This morning. Alright, okay, it's early in the morning, so I'm gonna try to just pin the sleeves and not sew them on, just pin them. It's like 7 in the morning, so I'm gonna try to like iron the sleeves and turn up the hem because I don't want to do that when it's hot, you know, so do that real fast, then I'm gonna stop. I'm really enjoying the little sweet little lace. I'm glad this was what I chose to do. And I think it's just a lot cleaner than it would have been trying to do the scallops. I'll figure out the scallops though at some point. the middle of the night the next day. So I'm just gonna sew the hem real fast. And then I have to figure out what to do with the fastening in the back. I have to think about that one, but let me do the hem real fast. Alright, looks pretty good, I think. Okay, I was gonna stop there, but I'm gonna do one more thing, I think. So these are the strips that I cut off from the length of the sleeve. So they're like 3 inches by 15 inches. So I think what I'm gonna do is just use one of these for the ties. So I'm just gonna split it in half. So it'll be 2 1.5 inch strips by 15. And then I'll just sew it up. And then I haven't used this loop turner yet. I got this kit off Amazon, and so I'm gonna see if this works. So every time I try to do a narrow little strappy thing like this, I can never get it turned out. So hopefully this will make it work. But for now, I'm just gonna cut. Then later I will sew, or maybe I'll sew now. We'll see. Yeah. This is so exciting. Okay. Because I've always folded it and sewed it and top stitched it, you know? And so it's always stiffer than this. But this will like tie into a bow so much easier because it's so much more flimsy. Oh, okay. It still wasn't easy. If anyone says this is easy, maybe because my loop turner is so tiny. I think if I had a longer one, it would be easier. But I have this one. This is what I'm going to use. So I'm struggling for this next one too. All right. Oh, thread. We did it. It was difficult. These are hard ones. But it was doable at least, you know? I feel like for these skinny ones, you kind of have to have a loop turner. At least I couldn't do it without it. And the longer one is preferable, honestly. The short one, you have to scrunch a lot. But it still works. It's fine. I'm gonna stop here. Let's take it out of me. Work on it next time. Okay, I've moved to the bed because it's too hot in the sewing room. So, and I'm just gonna like unpick some stuff. So I think what I'm gonna do for the ties is the back slit here. I am just gonna turn it inside out and unpick down here so that I can just insert the ties in here so it'll be clean. I'm not gonna put it in the corner. I'll probably put it down like 1/2 inch from the top maybe. I think that should work fine. Okay, so it's the next day. I'm just gonna iron these skinny little straps down and insert them into the back neckline. I'm not sure yet how to finish the ends. I'm just realizing that right now, but let me iron it down and figure that out. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I left the clips on to show, you know, where I left the openings for the ties here, and I'm just gonna shove them in. Right, so I'm just gonna sew that part down and should be good to go. These clips are just here to show me the opening. And then for the ends, I might just hand finish these. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, tuck it under twice and sew it down maybe. I'm not sure. Is this the best finish? I don't know, but I don't know what else to do because they're so narrow and I had to leave it open to like turn it inside out, you know? So, nah, we'll see. First I'm just gonna sew the straps in. Okay, so they're sewn in. Alright, yeah, I think that'll look pretty good. Focus. There we go. Yeah, I can deal with this now. I'm thinking of just folding it under a couple of times, like that. And so I'm gonna place. I wonder if the machine could handle that. Okay, the machine cannot handle. It doesn't want to go through because it's so fat and short. If it was wider, maybe I can get it through the feed dogs, but that's fine. I'm gonna just try to sew it up as neatly as I can in this position. Okay, I did one, and I'm weirdly proud of it because it looks pretty good, you know? I tried to do like a ladder stitch, I think that's what that's called, so it wasn't. So and my instinct was to do like a whip stitch so it would all be super visible, but I think this looks pretty good. So I still have to do the other one, but I'm gonna take a break here because my hand hurts. So I don't like. This is why I just don't like hand sewing, but yeah. Okay. All right. I was about to go take off my makeup and everything, and I realized I didn't film an intro and outro. So, I think this came out really cute. Like, you know, I think it's really wearable and sweet and summery, and I really enjoy it. I do think it looks best with jeans, so that's how I style them. Even though like I don't love a jean in summer, especially because it makes me really hot. But maybe a jean skirt or something. I don't know. But I think I'm glad that I went with the lace. I wouldn't have minded the sleeves to be a little bit longer, like a touch longer, maybe another inch, maybe. But I still like them, and I like the tie in the back. I haven't seen like the the footage yet, so we'll see when I edit it. But and the neckline and everything, it's just very comfortable. It's very comfortable, easy breezy. The only thing I would change is I think I might make it a touch longer because I felt like I was getting untucked a little bit in the back, and I had to like really like shove it in there, you know. I also these are high waisted, but I'll look at the footage. But I feel like high waisted is never as high as I want it to be. I just have a really long torso, and I feel like the rise is just a smidge shorter than it would be for me ideally. But really, like I guess like I want them all the way up to my chest. I would wear like things up to here if I could, you know. But especially if we're tucking in, you know, you want it like really at your waist. And yeah, that's everything. I think, and it was an easy sew, and it came out clean because it's a crisp little cotton, you know. So yeah, I would 100% recommend. And Love the yellow little floral detail. Yeah. Thanks for watching.